incredible guests, and more importantly, we've raised money for 2 very good causes. That's not to say that the donation links will be closing. You please keep donating. We'll keep them open as long as we can. But we decided to just have this final stream, just us, just GameSpot, and chat about the last 6 weeks. And we thought we'd do it under the guise of our podcast, GameSpot After Dark. So it's GameSpot After Dark Live. We're just going to be chatting about Play for All. Joining me today, so we have Timur Hussein.
Hey.
Michael Hyam.
What to do?
Kurt Indovina.
Greetings.
Jacob Decker.
This isn't officially episode 50, but it's kind of episode 50.
49.1.
49.5 maybe.
And Chastity Vicencio.
Oh.
Hello, everyone. 6 weeks, 6 of us. But more importantly, we have a special 7th guest. This is like Paul Rudd in Friends, the 7th friend. We've got Eric Tay, the voice of God. Tay, say hi.
Hey!
Oh,
yes!
Hey, there he is.
Undoubtedly, the MVP.
There he is.
The MVP.
The
of
true
Play for All.
MVP.
Yeah, basically, Play for All could not happen without Tay. He's been on every stream, troubleshooting, and like just because Sod's Law, even the last charity stream today, he was having to do mad pivots at the 11th hour, or should I say the 11:59th hour. We're moving quickly from Discord to Zoom, and so his insight into how this whole event and how we managed to pull it off is completely, it's necessary. He's been involved in everything, so he is involved too. Our charity links are still open. They're both on the screen right now. So we've got Black Lives Matter, bit.ly/gs-blm, and Direct Relief. So bit.ly/gs-covid, money going to 2 incredible causes. But first, let's just chat about the highlights of what we've been doing the last 6 weeks. So this will be encompassing not only the charity streams, but of course, press conferences we've covered, games we've got to play, interviews that we've done. So Chastity, I'm going to come to you first. What have been your highlights of the last 6 weeks?
There's been so many, but we did a lot of really great charity streams, and just the outpouring of support from the community has been so lovely. I just want to shout out to people who've been donating, especially those who've donated multiple times on multiple charity streams. We love you guys. Thank you so much for everything you've done. But yeah, we had a lot of great guests and a lot of good energy, and just like, it was nice to team up with some friends of GameSpot to just hang out and raise money for a good cause. So I want to shout out everyone that's been a guest on Play for All for sure. But I put together a few fun ones, and my favorites were, this is just a little selfish, but the movie trivia was super fun, and I really liked putting that together, and I got really into it. I stayed up way too late putting together questions and zooming in on movie posters, and that was a lot of fun. And thanks to Jack Patillo for joining us for that last one, going head to head with Lucy, and Lucy beating him by like 6 points, I think. Great job, Lucy.
It's
Lucy,
also
you
on
were
my highlights.
Seriously impressive.
Thank you.
With the movie trivia.
I'm glad that you used the word impressive and not weird.
No, that impresses me. And no, it was really good. Also, I had a lot of fun with Naomi Kyle, and she did some face painting with Rob, and that was hilarious. They both like tried to paint the Avengers symbol, and it looked like there was a poop on Rob's face. It was
Rob
a good time.
sang the Spice Girls.
Rob sang the Spice Girls, and that was also a highlight for me. He had a deep cut. His favorite Spice Girls song was "Two Become One," and so Naomi's like, I don't remember that one, so he started singing it, and I sang with him. Oh man, what a time! But yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, a lot of good charity streams.
And I think for me, at least, your interview with Alex. The interview with Alex Garland, like you threw that together and managed to make that happen. Can you talk a little bit more about how we got him involved?
Yeah, Alex Garland, friend of GameSpot now. We've worked with him a couple times now. Alex Garland, if you're not familiar with him, he was the director behind movies such as Annihilation and Ex Machina, and the show Devs that's on FX on Hulu. He's such an amazing creative mind, and it was really cool to get him involved. So we had worked with FX on Devs promotion when Devs came out this year. So we reached out to them and just asked if Alex would be down to do some charity stuff, and he was. So like he loves talking about video games too. So I think he just really loves any opportunity to talk with people about video games. So he was completely down to do it. And it turns out he has played more hours in Animal Crossing than I have, which is seriously impressive. And he even made a flag of his daughter's face, and not using any kind of app or anything to like mimic the picture. He just did it by hand, and I was like, wow, the dedication. But no, he's great. That was such a fun interview.
Awesome. Before we move on to kind of like the games and announcements and such from Play for All that have been announced during Play for All, let's just continue on with stream highlights and what people have enjoyed doing. So Kurt, what have you loved doing?
Oh dear. I had the ridiculous the honor to sit in with Tam with the brilliant minds of Remedy, even though I was, for the most part, silent and dumbfounded. But most importantly, I turned into a monster halfway through. My microphone dipped out, and I sound like a large, giant creature man. And nobody told me. Somebody tried to tell me, but they couldn't tell me. But still, that's a personal thing. Sitting among those dudes and being able to sit in with those cats it's like hard to comprehend, especially because Max Payne was like my favorite game of all time for the longest time. And I used to like emulate and think about that game all the time. And then just sitting there, not in the same room, but in the same virtual room as Sam Lake was stupid for me. It was incredible. That was amazing. All three of those cats were just so brilliant. That was amazing. Also, yeah, that's really about it. I feel like there's also just watching the Red Dead stream, not being a part of it, but just watching that stream was one of the most amazing moments of this entire past 6 weeks.
Jake and I have both, like, we kind of threw a list together of, highlights, and Jake and I, both being on that stream, have both written about it and both wanted to shout out to Jake. Let's talk a little bit about Red Dead, man.
Yeah, that was like, it was almost a dream. I mean, it was pretty much a dream come true. Like just sitting there and playing Red Dead with those guys and hearing, Roger Clark or Arthur Morgan, like being like, let's ride Jake, let's ride Lucy and stuff like that was just like absolutely blowing my mind. Or like the Dutch's voice actor was like, I know this whole map like the back of my hand. I don't need a map. And we're following him from like town to town. And
he did, man. Like he has incredible map knowledge.
Like every time I'd open the map, he'd be like, oh yeah, I don't need that. And I'm like, I know I do though. And I claim to be a fan. But that was unreal. That was so unreal.
Yeah.
We got so many like great donations too. And it was really good to see that. Like there was a bunch of Rockstar and Red Dead fans in the chat too that were donating, and even some who'd like join our game and show up occasionally, starting a little fight that we didn't need. But a lot of them were just like, it was weird. It was like we were like with celebrities in the game, because like we'd go to a place and stop for a bit and all these characters would gather around us and just watch, and we'd be like, I don't really know what's happening.
It was really surreal. I think because we had a couple of Zoom calls with them ahead of time to make sure that all the tech stuff was set up and that they could get into Discord okay, and that we could all be in a posse together. But the first time, like you said, when you hear them say your name, but obviously they put on some affectation when they are voicing the characters, but honestly, like Roger Clark and Ben Davis and Alex McKenna, they all just sound like their characters. And so hearing Dutch say, all right, Lucy, let's ride, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, yes please. But yeah, and the community was so nice, and when they were leaving messages, it was kind of incredible to see the messages they were leaving. Like, I've had a really hard time, someone died and I threw myself into Red Dead, and that helped me, and so I'm donating money to give back. And there were so many messages like that, and I think out of all the streams that we've done, that was the one that really kind of, the whole thing about Play for All is, gaming can help people, and we've been raising money for 2 excellent causes, but at the same time you kind of have the more human one-on-one moments of just like the stories about how gaming does directly impact people emotionally. And so I think the Red Dead stream for me was the best illustration of that, and it was a lot of fun. And also we're in a posse with them.
I think
called the Friends of Gavin.
Right at the beginning, like this guy showed up and was griefing us, and I was like, oh, it must be an O'Driscoll. And immediately Alex was like, I'll kill every last one of them O'Driscolls. And I was like, oh my God, this is really happening.
It was super cool. Tam, you've also done a lot of charity streams. What's been your fave?
Oh, it's so much of it. But during that Red Dead stream, I was very surprised to learn that Roger knows I exist. I was like,
He loves you.
I was
He's
like,
great on
"What?"
Twitter.
I was like, oh shit, people are actually looking at the Twitter. I should actually, now I'm very conscious of the fact that Roger is there potentially looking at my tweets. I'm just like, I need to behave myself.
Can't think about that tomorrow. Can't think about that.
Yeah, Arthur Morgan can't be mad at me.
Wait, you could do your Arthur to Morgan tweet again.
Arthur
Ryan.
to Morgan, yeah. But yeah, there was like so much stuff that I really love. So I'm just going to kind of rattle through them. I think the first one I want to start with, like, this is in no particular order. It's just highlights that came to my mind, like the last podcast streams that we did.
Oh,
that was unreal. Like, so the last podcast on the left, that is a podcast that I'm a huge fan of. Lucy, I know, is a huge fan of, and have been a fan of for a lot of years. So there was a period when I wasn't working in the industry. It was after my last job, I got made redundant, and there was stuff happening in the games industry that made me feel like, this is not what I got into it for. Like, it's turned into something that I don't like. And I was worried about, it made me think about what would happen if this all fell apart. Would I still be able to do a normal job? So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go and do a normal job for a bit. And so I joined London Underground, the transport service there. And I worked a shift. I did a shift job, like early mornings, late nights, and standing in the cold, getting abused by members of the public, that kind of stuff. And I always listened to that podcast to get me through it every day. Like, I was listening to it every single day, and it's a true crime podcast. So that podcast and the team has been a huge part of my life for ages. And then at the start of this whole production, I remember it was like me, Lucy, Chastity, and we were just like, let's just ask people. Like, the worst that can happen is they'll say no, but let's just, like, whoever we want, anyone that comes to mind, let's just try. And
we didn't expect so many people to say yes.
No, we expected most of. We sent out a lot of emails and requests, and we thought most of them are going to get shut down, and we'll have a few in between that we can, have in between our own streams of playing games. And one of them was the last podcast crew, and I emailed them. I DM'd one of them on Twitter, and it was an almost instant yes. And I remember sending Lucy a message and being like, Henry said yes. And like, that was our day done. Like, we were freaking out. and then like, Henry Zabrowski, who's like one of the cast members, an incredibly funny guy and huge fan of his. And he was like, yes. And then we started an email chain to get it together, and he was well up for it all the time. And then he was like, let me get Marcus in. Marcus is another guy from the podcast. And then we got to talk to Marcus, and Marcus was like, I want to do my own stream, like on my own. I want to play Dark Souls. And we were like, oh shit, he wants to not only do his own stream, he wants to with both of them together. And it was just so much fun. It was like one of those really chill streams that was a lot of fun. So that was a highlight. And then like, there's others that, like Jesus, having him on.
Man.
Yeah.
Like,
that was such a good stream.
Zeus was so good.
It was incredible.
Just
it was captivating.
Just another person that I'm a huge fan of as a Bloodborne streamer, and another one that I thought he probably won't. Like, he's not going to do this for us. And he was so keen, and he was so nice about it, and like, his stream was fascinating, and his community came in and just dropped donations like non-stop. And it was seeing our two communities kind of vibe and kind of like find that, they have a lot in common. That was amazing. And that stream is still incredible. And then it was the same.
My favorite moment from that stream, though, I just want to shout out, is when he was fighting Ludwig, and he was like, hold on, I'm going to adjust the sound right now. Mid-fight, brings up the pause menu, cranks up the music, and then goes back and kills them. And I was
what a
sitting there, jaw open.
What a flex.
Amazing.
It was incredible. And then like, other people like Super Eye Patch Wolf is a YouTuber that does anime and pop culture that I really love. And I emailed him, and it was like, this guy's not going to care. And he was like, oh, I love GameSpot. I've been following you guys forever. I'm a huge fan of yours. And I was like, what? This is mad. And then he came on, and we played What Remains of Edith Finch for the first time. and you could see his mind racing and like see the way he's so thoughtful about the way he deconstructs and analyzes content, and you could see him doing it on the fly and enjoying the game. That was amazing. And then we had RKG yesterday, and we played GeoGuessr, and we started with a 0-meter guess, and that's like the holy grail of GeoGuessr. And then we ended in Wales, which is Gab's home, you know, and that was amazing. And then we had Chris Pratt from People Make Games in the UK, who's amazing. He's actually in the chat now, and he was like, great work. And they played a fun game trivia with Rob. That was ridiculous and fun. It's the one trivia one that I was actually decent at.
I'm Joe Biden.
I'm Joe Biden. But like that one was good because like, yeah, I got some like ridiculous, the GTA 5 guess, which was just like some ambient noise.
Unbelievable. It was just a dog barking in the background. Barking,
and I was like, that's a GTA dog. I know that dog.
Or Rob had a ship sound and I was like, Halo. And he's like, God dang it.
yeah. But yeah, and then like there was the Tim Sweeney interview, which was the first thing that we did, which was like, I was terrified of that interview. Like I was, all the interviews that I do, like I have this, like I can't get rid of it, but it's just like anxious anxiety, fight or flight response to every single interview I do. And that one was really bad. So like going into doing that interview, I was just terrified.
It was great.
I was going to say, your anxiety was bad, but the interview was incredible.
Yeah, you got to talk about the ball, but it was incredible.
After I do every interview, people are always like, how was it? I'm like, I ain't got a clue, man. Because I was just so like sweating buckets the entire time. But like it was fun. Like Tim Sweeney was way more chilled. I think that's the one time, I think that interview, what I'm proud of in hindsight is Tim Sweeney and Kim Lavery just looking like humans, like goofing around, talking about Epic, but also like how much they love Popeyes, holding up that weird electric ball thing and, you know, just messing around. So that was a lot of fun. And then the other thing that I'm just like super proud of is the amazing team effort, like not to get emotional, but like the amount of work that people have put into this is unreal. Like Cassidy, Lucy, kind of the effort in kind of putting it all together and arranging that stuff was ridiculous. Chaim's done an unbelievable amount of interviews, so has Kurt, and every single one of them are like bangers. And Jake has been conducting interviews as well and like working on tech in the background, and it's been ridiculous. And Jean-Luc's been helping with him with that and doing that stuff. Tay's just like unreal at how good he is at his job, constantly fixing things as they break nonstop. You know, Richie in every single stream, just, you know, moderating and shouting out things and then doing highlights, and the social team, you know, Ashley, Eric, Will, everyone, promo team, Josh, kind of like, you know, getting it all done. It's been a massive effort. Persia did a bunch of stuff, and like she even did a stream for her birthday and raised like $120 and donated all that to the charity. And it's been like, when we came into this, I remember we wanted to show, like Lucy said, that games can be used as a force for good, and I think we did that as a team. Like we didn't want it to be just like a half-baked E3 replacement, because we all knew that it wasn't going to be an E3 replacement. You can't get those kind of like banging announcements in this day and age, but we wanted to instead try and take that energy and put it into something useful and help the world out a bit. And I think I personally feel proud that we did do that, and I think that everyone else should feel proud that we did that.
Yeah, I think absolutely that's how everyone feels. A little tired, definitely, but everyone's very, very proud of everything.
Dude, especially you two. You guys have done so many live streams. I can't even believe you guys are functioning at this point.
It's a lot of makeup and a ring light.
Yeah. Also want to shout out like a couple of people. Like I don't want to like say, you know, anyone's donations are more valuable than ever, but Matt Hocking, Nawaz Iqbal, like Jay Armstrong, there's a few people who showed up so frequently, and like Daniel Moreno, our Discord community, just watching and commenting and just like raising awareness. Those folks were, I swear they were in every single stream, and some of them are in ridiculous time zones. Brandon Hernandez is another one who was always in our chat, just chatting. Just a bunch of people around the clock from our community. And I think this has been really great in connecting our community as well. I think we can all safely say like the GameSpot community is vast, and to a point when it gets that big, you almost lose touch with them. Like you're not as intimate with them. But this experience it feels like to me like we've reconnected with our community in a big way, and we've been able to kind of understand the value of speaking to our readers, viewers, that kind of stuff way more, and we've been given avenues to do it and are encouraged to do it again. So that's been huge.
Yeah, just to jump off that quickly, like anyone who's watching now, like we have a GameSpot Discord where there's lots of fans of GameSpot and people who like to play games in there. And if you're interested in joining, you can DM any one of us on Twitter and we'll make sure to get you in, because like Timur was saying, like that has been such a good place for fans and gamers and whatnot to connect over games they like. And even this whole Play for All stream, it was nice having that group of people there to watch.
They were doing watch parties.
Yeah, we were doing that as well.
Discord, which was really cool.
So if you're watching and you're not part of it yet, please message one of us. We'd love to have you in there.
Yeah. Michael, I'm going to come to you next. What have been some of your highlights?
Oof. Oh man.
Because you have been like on the editorial side, holding it down, like so many interviews. Every time I'm in like Play for All host Slack, it's, you and Kurt mostly taking so many interviews, and you've been so busy writing stuff up, reviewing stuff all at the same time. So
yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of work, but I mean, I think that it really helped that we can centralize, or we were able to centralize, like this is the thing that we are working for, because it's pretty easy to get lost in all of the tasks that you need to do, and like keeping up with like embargo shit. Like there's just there is so many moving parts. I'm like hitting up Matt Espinelli on Slack, like, yo, can you do me a big solid and check to see if my Asana is straight and all that stuff, and make sure all these dates are aligned, because I mean, like Tam said, it's a team effort, and like my experience extends to other people who are also coordinating, chasing down email threads and making sure things are on time, making sure because I've been doing a lot of developer interviews with Jake and Jean-Luc on the technical side, and we're using different programs. Everyone we're contacting, all these developers we're contacting are like, yo, you got a webcam? Is your audio good? Like what time zone you're in? Like doing the whole remote interviewing thing. I think we were able to get to a point where it was very, it was almost automatic, but getting to that point was kind of hard. And then trying to adjust your own home life to be able to execute that stuff at a serviceable level. Cause like, honestly, like I was working off a damn webcam for most of the time. And I have my microphone stacked on 4 books to make sure it's up to my mouth. So it's very makeshift. But I think that when I look back on the things that we were able to produce, I feel like we're still pretty much hitting the same level of content that we would have otherwise. I think we don't have the big stage. We don't got hundreds of people with passing by foot traffic of E3, but the spirit is still there. And to be a part of that is really big, because there's so many people involved, and just to be one of them is pretty dope. Yeah. And there's some times I got to while out and do my thing. Like, particularly, I think my favorite one was the Yakuza Like a Dragon interview, because obviously Yakuza means a lot to me. And then last year I was able to do one on Judgment with Toshihiro Nagoshi, but obviously we weren't able to get him. But I was able to talk about localization with Scott Strickard, who I've been trying to get a hold of for a very long time. I'm in contact with him as Yakuza games come out, but to finally have something, I've been talking to him a lot. I'd be like, yo, when we want to do this, talk about localization, make some content out of that, because it's so fascinating to me. And then to incorporate that with Play for All was like, yes, I finally did something on it. So that felt really cool. A game I'm very, very excited about. That was probably the highlight of but I've done like so many interviews. That the thing too is that you don't just hop on a call and be like, all right, let's get to some questions. Like there's a lot of, you don't want to look like a dumbass on these videos, because it's going to show, right? So there's a lot of prep that goes into these interviews, like for games that like I might have touched before, but I didn't necessarily play many hours of, but I need to be able to provide the context, provide the questions that are actually going to give insight, rather than like, hey, tell me about the guns that you have in Borderlands 3. Like there's so much more to that. And then so the ability to quickly contextualize and understand different games, different genres on an almost daily basis has been, I'm like, damn, y'all GameSpot getting your money's worth with me. You know the vibes. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. That's like my favorite thing that I like doing that stuff. It's a lot of work that goes into it to like do it well. You want to be better than good. You want to be great at it, but it takes work to get there. And I feel like all of us who have been putting in the work have been able to reach that level. So I'm really proud to be a part of that. And I think that's a highlight to me. I mean, we'll talk about some games and specific event moments that that really stuck out to us, because I got a lot to share. But on my end, like I think at some point you want to be like proud of the work that you do, and this is one of those moments where I'm like, damn, 6 weeks. 6 weeks is a long ass time. And you have to be on point, because there's like some weeks of slack. It's like, hey, we got this interview, got this lined up, we got the stream lined up. All right, who's willing and ready? It was always that. Who's willing and ready to go today, tomorrow, the next day. So yes, we did it. Still some more work to do, but you know what? We've kind of reached we can cruise a little bit more now. So
yeah.
Oof.
I wanted to shout out some donations that we got. Yeah, so we have a huge donation from our good friend Nawaz Iqbal, who just gave $150
Thank
to
you.
COVID-19 direct relief. Thank you so much, Nawaz. Nawaz wrote, "Hey guys, just want to thank everyone at GameSpot for all your hard work in putting Play for All event together. The past 6 weeks has been so much fun. Congrats on raising so much money for 2 incredible causes. You love to see it." You do love to see
You
it.
love to see it.
You truly do. Thank you so much. And more, we got the, as mentioned before, our very own Persia raised $120, and she split that amongst both causes. So $60 towards Black Lives Matter, $60 towards COVID-19 relief. Thank you so much, Persia. $10 from Matt Hawking again. Matt,
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, Matt, you're
legend.
amazing. And Matt wrote, "Nice work, everyone." And then our buddy Jake Baldino coming through.
Hey!
$200 from Jake Baldino.
Wow.
Hey, thank you.
Jake, you
Wow.
Thank you,
Love to
Jake.
see
Holy
it.
shnikes.
Oh my
Shout out to Jake
goodness.
from Jake.
Jake is one of the nicest people in the industry.
Seriously.
He is like incredible. He's so talented and humble and smart.
He was on a couple of our streams.
Yeah.
He and I played Portal 2 together, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this. We're both bad at Portal 2, but honestly, it was so much fun. He is one of the nicest guys,
Yeah.
and
So talented as well.
Trivia winner too.
Yeah,
Box
very good at
He
trivia.
did not to plug Jake, but he did a video on Batman Begins the other day, and it's on
Yeah,
his
I saw
channel.
that.
It's so good. It's so good. And I was like, "You're right. You're wrong, because Dark Knight is better, but you're right."
Yeah.
Wait, hold
No, I
on.
felt it.
What is Jake Baldino doing? He just gave $200 to COVID, and then I go to the Black Lives Matter page, and he's given $500.
Whoa,
Jake!
whoa.
Jake!
Matter, Jake
Thank
Baldino.
Jake,
Oh
see,
my
this
goodness.
is what we were literally just saying. He's
The
one of the
nicest guy.
kindest, nicest people around. Like,
Incredible.
Thank you.
Wow,
just-
Jake, you
he's
are
on Twitter.
amazing.
Flood him with thank yous. He's at Jake Baldino.
And go
Jake,
sub to
you
him
all right? Yeah, go
Yes.
sub to
on
him as well.
YouTube, both on Game Ranks and his personal channel, because he
Yeah.
produces some really great
Just
stuff, and he's
That's
also the
genuinely,
nicest.
yeah.
incredible.
Genuinely
And
one of the nicest
also, Nawaz, thank you again, Nawaz Iqbal,
Thank
$150
What
to
a guy.
Black Lives Matter
Nawaz.
also. So Nawaz came through again. So $150 to each cause just
What a
now.
legend.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank you.
You guys
So
roll.
yeah, like we
That's
couldn't have done
what we're
this-
talking about.
Yeah,
That's what we're
It's
talking about.
amazing.
Exactly that.
it's been genuinely, like, I think one of the things that you're always fearful of when you run a charity event is that no one's gonna tune in, no one's gonna donate. But we've had some just, you're all incredible eggs, and thank you all for tuning in and donating, and like the money's going to such great causes. And I mean, originally when we were planning Play for All, it was going to be just COVID relief, and then we realized that in good faith we could not run an event if we weren't going to be showing support for and raising money for Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, that decision came through like unanimously, and it was literally the day before, wasn't it? I think
it was
Yeah.
it was the day before.
It was like
yeah.
on a Sunday, right? And then
Yeah.
you started
Yeah.
Monday.
I
We,
was
we were playing Overwatch.
I was
Yeah, and like
I
we were just like
was I
you were
was
out protesting.
I was in the streets, yo, and I was getting down with some folks were bumping some Mac Dre and E40 on the streets. So we're trying to square up against the police out the streets in Oakland, but we're also gonna have a good time. Everyone's wearing masks too, so we kept it safe. But yeah, I got a Slack message at like 9:30 and said, "Yo, are you down to be on?" Because I was not scheduled to be on as well. So, but the pivot happened for good reason. I'm glad it happened, and props
Yeah.
to making the shift so fast. But it was also kind of like you need to mentally prepare yourself for that sort of thing. And yeah, it was
That launch stream was incredible. You guys all killed it.
Yeah,
All three of you handled it so well.
Yeah, and then we jumped straight into Giant Bomb, and it's like, yeah, that's another big community that you need to communicate to, because then they carried the stream and all that. But I think it's for the best, obviously, and I hope that there's the larger takeaway is that yes, we were able to support a great cause. But I said this in the 6 weeks ago when we launched this thing, was that it's something that needs to keep going. As much as donations help, that can't be the end. I guess I can say, I'll say this now that we're on the topic, but the reason why we're supporting Black Lives Matter and the movement is because we also want to make people aware that it's not just donations, it's not just money. You need to educate yourselves on these sorts of things. We've spoke to this many times, but keep that in mind as you're moving forward. Be conscious of the systems that are at play, the systemic racism that people face. And if you're not of that group, if you're not Black, if you're not that's something that you need to learn. You need to at least learn those about those experiences, so you understand, you can sympathize and realize that there's a lot more work that needs to be done out in the streets. There's a lot more effort. It doesn't end here, but it's a start, and I'm proud to be part of it, and I'm proud to be carrying on that fight as the best way that I can in my personal life. And I hope that message carries on to everyone else who's been tuning in and donating as well.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this, but like I feel like this whole event and our kind of like collective reaction to it has been like an identity defining moment for GameSpot. Like as it currently stands, like we're a team that works for a website that has existed for a really long time. And for a lot of time, like people come in and out, leadership changes, staff members change. And it's almost like a relay race where we pick up where someone left off and carry on moving forward. And over time, the kind of processes and the tone and what we speak about kind of dilutes and becomes one. Like you don't have an era of this is the era of this type of GameSpot, that type of GameSpot. And this felt like a moment where the team is incredibly diverse. We try our best to be on top of issues, social issues, racial issues, that are close to our heart. And this felt like the first time where we really kicked open a door and came out and said, this is what this current generation of GameSpot is about. We love video games. We love movies. We love TV. We love entertainment. We love covering that stuff. We love making content around that stuff. But we are also people, and we care about the world. We care about our audience. We care about, the issues that people face. And I feel like this is the first time we've actually like stood on a platform and shouted that. So it was crystal clear. And the amazing thing that is like Michael Hein was saying there, it feels like the first step in something that we now feel confident and comfortable in going forward and trying our best to maintain. And the amazing thing about that is we've also had our community respond. Like we've had people who know us and watch our stuff, whether they're in the industry or out the industry, kind of reciprocate that. And that's just such a good feeling, having people like, Jake and Nawaz and Jacob McCaw and various other members of our community. There's members from the Discord community on site, people who watch streams kind of reciprocate that and say that they agree and they feel good about that. It's been so uplifting. So as tired as we all are, this has been an incredibly like energizing process as well. Like we feel good about it, and like everyone on Twitter keeps saying, you know, keep that energy up going forward. This is something that will kind of like feels empowering to us, because we feel like we can keep the energy up. We've made our stances clear. We've shown that we care about this stuff, and we're willing to go the extra mile to make sure that others know that we're doing, you know, others know that we will support them when they need us. So it's maybe it sounds a bit highfalutin and a bit grandiose, but I feel like the last 6 weeks was when GameSpot became more than just a video games website. It became like a force for, you know, championing voices that need it within video games industry and the world at large, beyond just, you know, video games. We will step in and do our best to support causes when necessary. And I think that's something that's incredibly proud. We should be incredibly proud of.
Yeah, I agree, obviously, and is really nice to, you know, be able to, for example, like, you know, I feel more, I've been shy about saying certain things in the content that I produce, but now it's kind of like, you know what, there's no reason to be shy. Like, whether it was like backlash or whatever, it's like, no, fuck that shit. Like, this is only going to work if we use our voices the way we want to. So I think in that regard, moving forward, it's going to be, I guess, more comfortable to be vocal about certain things. I think another thing to keep in mind, though, like as the broader games industry, like GameSpot has a space in it, and it's been wild to call that my job to operate within this space. But I think that in light of when we started Play for All, I think there's also a clear indication that the wider game space still has a lot of work to do in terms of inclusion and elevating minority voices, Black voices, trans voices, and all people who cover all sorts of different backgrounds. Like I'm happy with the progress, but of course it's progress. It's not the end point that we want to get to. So I think that, you know, anyone who operates in this industry needs to be very conscious that if you are not a person of color, that if you are not Black, that you will be extra conscious of your place in the industry and how you can include others moving forward. I'm confident that the wider games industry and us too can continue to improve on that as we move forward. So, you know, it was a wake-up call, and, you know, I think that for our spaces, things are looking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So before we move on to the games, I think there's one more person who we definitely need to hear from. Voice of God, Eric Tay. How have the last 6 weeks been for you? What a kind of stressful, I'd imagine, very busy, but like overall, how has the event gone compared to running something like E3? And more importantly, what are you going to do with your time off afterwards, mate? Because you deserve it.
Tay, it says you're on mute. Tay, you're on mute. No audio.
You're in the chat. You're in the Zoom call.
Tay's just realized he's muted.
Hate to see it.
See, this is what we're saying. This is the kind of thing Tay has to deal with.
Run it back.
Wait, well, we
Yeah,
have
he
been
fixes
recording.
problems as they happen.
We've been recording this Zoom call, so we can clip that out.
Oh,
Do we want to wait? Tay, you coming back?
Hey, come back.
come back.
I can. We can hear
We
you,
can hear you,
We
but
can
no one
hear
in the
you.
audience.
but no one
No one
else
in the
could.
audience. Go on to it.
You have a baby.
Oh, a child
baby.
baby.
Okay.
Okay. No.
Nope.
Are you serious?
Are you
All right.
serious?
All right. Well, okay. First off, he has a baby in his arms, which in of itself is
Now it works, but now you hear me twice.
No. We hear you
No?
once.
No, we hear you once.
Okay.
I
then
mean, on the
that's good.
Zoom call.
I hear myself twice, or I hear myself.
Okay.
This is not a great thing. Take 3. Take 3.
Can
gonna
they
wait
hear
until
him?
chat-
Can they hear him?
They should be able to hear it this time.
Ant-Man says maybe the baby muted him.
I'm gonna wait for it before I.
Okay.
I mean, this is the last big, stream,
Yeah, this
and
is the last-
They can hear
this
him,
is
they
this
can hear
is
him.
Okay.
we
you
They
made
can
it
hear you.
this
They
far.
can hear you.
Sorry, the audio quality is not gonna be good because it's coming from my webcam because this mic apparently doesn't work. But again, this is awkward. Thank you to everyone who did all this stuff, planning, and really, my biggest thing is like making sure that John Luke gets a shout out for helping me, because he helped me problem solve when my one brain couldn't do it anymore. And then this guy was a troublemaker. So you asked me what I'm gonna do with my time later is spend more time with him. Obviously, I did tell Chris and Rob before we started this that I wanted to have an E3 baby so that I could be like, sorry y'all, deuces. He came early, so I bartered with my wife and told her that like I'm gonna help them through E3. Well, now Play for All because E3 obviously didn't happen. But it's been great, like grateful to the community, like you guys said. There's so many highlights and things. I feel like I've been talking for a while, even though really I haven't because I've said the same speech like 3 times. But no, I'm just grateful to everyone that we work with. I'm grateful that we have the platform to do what we do. I'm grateful that my wife is laughing at me in the background. But yeah, thank you to everyone who's donated. Thank you to all the guests who have been on the streams. Thanks for all the communities who have come and joined in with us too, to kind of like merge and bridge communities. Last podcast, Brianna White, that Red Dead stream was amazing. I had a lot of fun with a lot of the trivia, just like being behind the scenes. I always wanted to answer. I'm like, come on.
Thank you for helping me with that.
I want to answer, guys. I know. But yeah, I don't want to take up too much more time. So just happy that I've said this as a joke. I'm happy that it's over, but probably, come next week, we're going to be a little sad that like, you know what?
Yeah.
That great thing we did for 6 weeks that was tiring and all that is now over, and it's weird, But yeah.
It reminded me of kind of being back in the office a bit more, because when we were working from home, you would just meet people, at least talk to people under the context of Zoom meetings, right? Whereas with this, you get to relax with people and just have a laugh, and so it's been really nice and just chatting with everyone.
You mentioned there Jean-Luc, but I do want to say, like, there's so many people, like if any of us, our teammates and colleagues are watching, like I'm sure we can't name everyone, but it's incredibly appreciated. Like people like Jean-Luc just toiling away in the background, like Ben Janker saved us on many occasions, like just
all the
helping
video
us figure
editors,
stuff out. All the video editors, like
who picked up the interviews afterwards.
Max is there, like there's
Dave Jewett in the UK.
David Armati, Dave Jewett was there. Chris Morris did amazing stuff. Adam Mason absolutely pieced out ASAP to raise a child.
He had a child.
Yeah, shout out to him. But then like on the editorial side, Chris Pereira, like helping with all the kind of like editorial appointments and that kind of stuff. then like the actual editorial team itself taking the stuff that we're doing and writing stuff around it and then breaking things out, that's various people, Kevin, Steve, Jordan, Eddie, Jeremy, every single member of the team, like Chloe on SEO helping out, Chris also doing SEO, Eric, Sam's on social. I already mentioned like Ashley and Will and
Callie.
and stuff. Callie doing so much. Like Callie's been doing reviews on top of coming into streams whenever we could get her in. Just an incredible team-wide effort. I'm sure we're missing people. There's people who work in like HR,
thumbnail crew, boys.
The thumbnail crew.
Thumbnail crew.
Miranda Church,
Girk.
Girk.
All of them. I mean, that stuff is. I even had to make a thumbnail once, but it's like, it's an all-encompassing work that every single one of us is contributing to this. We're taking precedence. We're taking a stance on stuff while also doing our normal day jobs. And some of us are not getting lunches, but it's all in part of what it is we're trying to say and do. And as I just want to echo like what everyone said, Michael and Tam, that like it does for me feel like a step in a direction that I did not anticipate would happen working at a place like this. And it's made me more comfortable and aware of where I am and what I can do with this platform and these people who are all on the same page. Fucking great team. I just had to say it. Like,
you thought about not swearing there.
I know, but I was like, I have to.
Fine.
Yeah,
I know. It's fine. And plus, it's like a second language to me. You know how hard it is for me to not?
I know.
I know. It's horrible.
I
haven't sworn in interviews. I've kept it cool there.
Proud of you.
Thank you so much.
We've talked about kind of the charity side of it. We're not going to go on for too much longer, but I think obviously it's super important to talk about the games that have been announced, the best interviews that we've had. So let's quickly go around the Zoom.
Zoom around.
Did you just come up with that?
I have trialed that joke before, but this is the first time I've said it on a live stream. Let's go around and talk about kind of the big, I think Sony E3 2015 will always be the absolute pinnacle of like, this is like the E3 excitement for me. But I think Sony's summer press conference, the PS5 press conference, was hitting those heights for me. I was really excited about that. And it's wild that E3 doesn't exist in a year when new consoles are coming. Obviously, we're yet to see, Ubisoft's going to be on Sunday. We've had EA, but Microsoft haven't really, it's their turn next, closer to the end of the month. And so based on what we've seen over the last 6 weeks or so, let's pick out some highlights. Chastity, I'm going to go to you first.
PS5 was definitely a big highlight for me, especially just kind of kicking off with Spider-Man Miles Morales. I was so excited about that. I cannot wait to be Miles and swing around and just have a similar play style to the Spider-Man game on PS4 because I loved that game. I'm really excited to play that and dig into that on PS5. So I was already going to get a PS5, so now I'm definitely getting a PS5. I also Stray, the cat game.
Yes.
Oh my god. I'm so excited that cats are having a year in 2020 with all these game announcements and just popping up in trailers, but especially Stray, as playing as a lead character as a cat. Shout out to Sushi. What's
Shout
Sushi
out to
doing?
Sushi.
Are you sure?
Is
Sushi alive? Like she's been there for
she's cropped out of my frame, but she's very cozy wozy. Sushi's my cat, by the way. And then throughout almost every live stream and interview, she's been sleeping on the couch right here.
So
if you just see a little bit of her furs.
I see that foot just like
She's real cozy wozy. And then she's been a part of the live streams. A lot of fans have loved her in the chat. So very happy that she's got fans. But yeah.
Sushi's great. And the other highlight for me in terms of game announcements was new Pokemon Snap. Thank you, Tam, for shooting videos of me in a Snorlax onesie prepping for Pokemon Snap.
Honestly, it felt inappropriate that I did that save state, but in a way, I'm almost
No, it worked.
I'm so glad that
It
like
worked.
that was the like I was like, we need to have Chastity in this. Like I cannot not. So I'm so glad you two put that together. If you guys haven't seen that, maybe I'll try and link that.
It's my
Let's
pinned
do it
tweet.
again.
You can just check it out.
Yeah, it's Chastity's
out my Twitter.
glowing most identifying moment. So
Thank
it's
you.
amazing.
Kit, what about you?
Deathloop. Like I am so excited for that game. Like not only do I absolutely just adore everything Arcane does, but Deathloop was hitting just from that trailer reveal hit on this like 60s ultra violent funkadelic James Bond thing with some of the coolest like characters as like front and center I've seen in a video game in a long time. And I already was going to get console. I'm saving up money to get consoles day one. Like that's important to me. But knowing that's a PS5 exclusive, it was like it's all over. Like I cannot wait for that game. And then on top of that, being able to interview them was just incredible. So that opportunity, I jumped on that opportunity as quickly as possible. And I know Lucy, I think everyone here are huge Arcane fans. So I immediately was like, oh, Lucy's probably going to want to do that because it's the art director of Dishonored, but I'm sure Tam's going to want to. But I'm very,
my stealthy boys.
That's the thing. That interview was at 8 a.m. and I was like,
was the early one.
I was ready for
and
it.
that's the thing.
So.
You wake up at like 4. But no, so it's funny you say
Hyam
that. So
was on it as well. It was like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
we
almost
all
felt
were.
kind of guilty. Sorry, Michael.
don't feel guilty. But no,
Hey,
like
you put in the work, man. You did
Yeah.
you did good.
I got my Arcane interview though, because I interviewed Rafael Antonio about
know,
Weird West. So I'm good. I'm covered for Arcane.
Still, but yeah, well, it's nonetheless like I'm so glad that I was able to jump on that, and thank you guys for giving me that opportunity to do it. Also, God, there's so much to talk about. That Oddworld reveal. Those are like Oddworld and Deathloop are the two games I'm most excited about, probably from that Sony reveal. Like that was like the crowning thing that happened, I think, for all of us. But the moment in which Lucy hands a mug through space and time into Tam's hands without any it was so serendipitous. It was
We gotta pull
so
up the clip.
mind-boggling.
We gotta pull up the clip.
I
Do
think
we have
I
the clip?
prepared a clip. Yeah.
Eric, do
I
you
can't.
have the clip?
I think about this daily, and it's like
Here it is. Here it
how-
is. There it is. Look.
Oh my god, it's so insane. I can't watch it. I can't watch it without having like a meltdown about how that happened.
I was on that stream and I looked at him like, oh, I see what they did.
I had no idea.
We didn't plan it.
Like not at all.
But that's
did
the
not
thing.
plan
No
it.
idea.
I also think
don't
like
buy it.
it's telling of Tam and Lucy's like friendship and all of this. That like this thing, this ominous thing that happened. It's incredible. I love it. So that was like more than any game reveal that blew my mind.
All right, Jake.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Cyberpunk. Having
Yeah,
played
man.
that game, was like I still kind of don't believe that I got to play that game for 4 hours. And partly, it kind of felt like a dream because I was playing it in my house on my PC for like 4 hours. Like I don't know, ate some breakfast and sat down at the computer and just played Cyberpunk, and now I can't play Cyberpunk. So like it's kind of breaking my brain in a sense.
What a
But-
tease.
Yeah.
Yeah, finally being able to like get hands on with that game, see what the world's about, and just kind of explore that world. Like it's strange because I feel like I haven't really developed any thoughts on it yet, like any like really, I don't know, I guess like solid thoughts on the game, but it's because I only played like 4 hours of a game that could be like 100 hours or so. So it's hard to say in that sense, but like, I don't know, that veil of mystery has finally been lifted, and like it was so cool to play. Definitely like a highlight. And two, just like the tech behind it, like using NVIDIA Now, I think is what it's called.
GeForce Now.
GeForce Now, that was close enough.
Yeah.
Michael knows.
Like using that was really impressive. I imagine I probably used about 30 gigs of data in that like 4 hours I spent with it, but like still it was super impressive to play a game like that over the cloud. But yeah, there's so much to talk about with Cyberpunk, and we've got a ton of videos about it up right now. So if you're curious about that 4-hour session, definitely check those out, because I know we're short on time, but yeah, it has to be Cyberpunk.
Definitely check them out.
Michael?
Yo, so there are a lot of big game reveals, and I usually have like tempered expectations. Like I don't get hella hype for things usually, unless it's like the very specific things. Like if it's not Final Fantasy 14, if it's not Persona, if it's not Yakuza, I'm not jumping out of my seat. That's not to say I don't like games, but it's just more of like, oh, okay, it's cool to see that thing. And then so like the PS5 reveal was fun. I think I had a lot of fun doing that because Tam and Lucy, my homies, obviously, but it's also like an opportunity to kind of deconstruct what we're seeing in games. Like, for example, like Horizon Forbidden West is something that I'm actually excited about, but I'm also like, hey, there's a lot of work that needs to be done with some of the native imagery that you're using, and like being able to kind of express that and kind of think back to my experience with Horizon Zero Dawn, how it relates to what I'm expecting out of Forbidden West. Those are the things that I really enjoy doing, and I think that are important when we do talk about these games, especially as we become more conscious of where they come and the things that they're trying to say in them. So that is one game that I'm looking forward to because of various perspectives. But man, when Atlas dropped, for example, when Atlas dropped Persona 4 Golden on PC, I lost my goddamn mind. Of course, I knew beforehand. Obviously, Persona 4 is one of my favorite games of all time. It was my favorite game of all time until I played Persona 5 Royal. So when I got the news beforehand that it was coming to PC, I'm like, y'all are messing with me. You're just messing with me. This is not real. And then it was like, oh, it's true. And here's a code to play it before reveal. I'm like, I'm sitting there playing P4G on my PC and like tears, listening to the soundtrack. One night when I was like capturing because I did a whole piece on like how well does it translate to PC. It turns out it translates extremely well. But one night I was just like sitting there. I was like, I got like an empty bottle of E&J. I was drinking out this thing, and I was just like sitting there, listening to Signs of Love as I'm just chilling there with Dojima. I'm like, damn, I can't believe this is happening. Of course, I got a Vita with the game on it, but I'm playing this shit in like crisp 1080p with anti-aliasing and 120 frames per second. Boy, oh my god. Yeah, nothing like getting excited about a 12-year-old game ported to PC, because that is my highlight. Game reveal and launch during this Play for All window. But I think on a more serious note, I think that I want to give a shout out to the Guerrilla Collective for their Black Voices in Gaming stream, because that was also a sudden pivot for Guerrilla Collective, in which they took an entire day to highlight Black game developers. That was very important because I saw so many things that I didn't even know about, and I tried to keep up with what a lot of independent developers are doing, what a lot of BIPOC folks are doing in the game space. But to have a whole stream where it's like, yo, let's just celebrate what we're working on, that was very important. I got to see my good friend, Davion Gooden, who's working on She Dreams Elsewhere, which is a game that I am absolutely excited about. I saw it at PAX earlier this year before we got locked down. I got to chop it up with him, play his game, and it is right up my alley because it's Persona mixed with Undertale. I've talked about it before, but to see that game like get a platform it deserves, and for him to like talk through it, I was like, okay, this is dope. I like this. And also with Guerrilla Collective, I'll give a special shout out, another one, to my guy Justin Woodward. So Justin Woodward, he runs also the Indie Mix that we collaborate with every time GDC rolls around, every time we go to conventions. But Justin Woodward, he is from my hometown of Southeast San Diego. So we are from the same hood. And when we got to chop it up at GDC a couple years back, I didn't know. And I was like, holy shit, this dude grew up on the same block as me. And he's like out here doing things like Guerrilla Collective, making his own games, doing Indie Mix. So special shout out to Justin Woodward, see him running that show.
He's the real MVP. Like I've worked with him for a long time now with E3 and the Indie Mix and stuff. And like, he is like, we had 1 year, I think it was actually last year, where when E3 was cracking down on badges, like originally, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but like to get independent developers into E3 on our stage, we'd have to like have them borrow other people's badges. But then at E3, they were checking ID last year, and they did it the very day we were finally doing the Indie Mix. So him and I, like, last minute got in touch with all these people, got all these badges printed up, and every single developer who was lined up to be on our stage ended up being on our stage. It's something I haven't talked about, so it's kind of cool to talk about, but like he was
Yeah.
like so helpful in all that. Like he was definitely a big part of that. And like, just, I don't know. After that, I was like, I feel like we're a lot closer now after having to deal with all
Been
this.
through some stuff.
The
Cool, that's
morning
cool.
of.
Both of y'all put in work to make. I remember that because you were tripping.
I was like, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna leave.
Yeah. So shouts out to both of y'all, man, for making that.
When we started doing Play for All, Justin was one of the first people to just hit us up and get on board with like the Indie Mix stuff and the Guerrilla Collective stuff, and we kind of partnered with them through Larian and the Baldur's Gate thing, and it started off with let's talk about Larian, and then eventually just became the whole like indie, the Guerrilla Collective stuff, and he was just like super open, breaking down everything that was going to happen, like moment by moment, like helped us. We have to often juggle and beg people and really force their hand in giving us assets and that kind of stuff and information. He just like trusts us completely and gave us everything, and like then he put on their own show, and it was just like an impressive, like unique show. So like Justin, one of the like smartest and like hardest working people in the industry. Huge shout out to him. What a guy.
That's my guy.
I want to shout out some donations that we got.
Ooh.
So I might have missed this, but Matt Hawking gave another $10 and said, "Nice work, everyone." Thank you so much, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Nice one, Matt.
$5.55 from Anonymous. Thank you so much, Anonymous. These are
Big up,
for
Anonymous.
direct relief. Direct relief. Thank you so
Expected.
much. And our very own Richie Bracamonte, $20.69.
Hey,
Richie
Nice.
says, happy to be a part of this team. Happy and proud to be part of this team. Thank you, Richie. You're amazing.
Couldn't have done it
Thank you for
without
being in the
Richie.
chat
Yeah.
all the time. Over on Black Lives Matter, David Trang, another $10. Thank you, David. You've been giving a lot as well.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Shout
Thank
out to
you,
you,
David.
David. And Alessandro Barbosa, our very own, $50 to Black Lives Matter.
Legend.
Thank you, Alessandro.
Thank you, Alessandro.
Again, another member of the editorial team that is just been putting in work lately. Little hero.
Tam, I'm gonna go to you. What have been your kind of gaming highlights?
So Jake covered Cyberpunk and very expertly avoided the fact that he publicly said that he was excited for an anime. So well done to him there.
Oh, don't worry, the chat saw that and
Yay.
and they're like, what about
So
the
Jake-
Yeah,
anime?
there's anime.
Jake officially a weeb, but my highlight has definitely got to be Demon Souls Remaster.
Yeah.
I wish I could have heard you when that happened.
I wish. Well, I mean, like
I heard
Michael and I
sounds through the wall.
got it. And
Like
it was-
I know, I think Chastity
I heard
tweeted
it.
like you could hear him like through the walls. I wish I could have seen that.
It was
that
the
would've been
weirdest
incredible.
sound.
You said you wouldn't tell anyone. But yeah, that was like, I had, it's one of those things where, doing what we do, like we start to hear whispers about things. And that was one whisper I heard very, very long time ago. And I was like, I'm going to do my absolute best to avoid any sort of follow-ups about this. And I very carefully avoided what Bluepoint was doing the entire time, knowing that at some point there was a chance of Demon Souls appearing. And then it appeared and I destroyed my hand and screamed and like it was destroyed my hand because I smacked it on a desk because not for other reasons. But
boy.
High made the Susio face, so I needed to address it. But yeah, that was like unreal, and like it just felt like a game that I like. It's a game that I really need like right now, just because Souls games they have a special place in my life, and the purpose they serve is incredibly unique. And as the Maiden in Black says, they need something now so the world can be mended.
Very
There it
good.
is.
Well, all right, we're kind of winding down here, but a couple of final shout outs. So we actually have a store that launched this week. I'm bringing it up in that kind of way because if you buy anything from the store, all proceeds are going to go to Black Lives Matter and to Direct Relief. Just wanted to, look at Tay. Look at this switching on the fly.
Perfect.
Perfect. So yeah, we've got some cool stuff in there. We're still raising money. I think we've all said, like how proud we all are for working on this, and our thanks to everyone who's donated, watched the streams, participate in streams. We have an exciting bit of news. I guess from Viacom CBS, who is obviously our parent company. Who wants to announce this one?
I mean, I think we
Tam,
can all do
Tam.
it. But
Tam, do it.
Do it, Tam.
first of all, I want to shout out like a couple people for actually. This was something we wanted, we asked for, but like a few people really chased it down to us. Randy, who's our editor-in-chief, Randolph Ramsey, really pushed on this. Chris Beaumont, who is, head of video, and really pushed on this. And then Ben, who was kind of like instrumental in Ben Howard in making sure that we actually managed to make it happen. And what they made happen was like we asked for Viacom CBS to kind of pitch in some money to do its part and support us and the causes that we're raising money for, and it absolutely has. Is donating a total of $100,000 to charities, which is an unreal amount. We thought maybe we'd get 10K out of them or something like that, but and Ben, I think I can comfortable in quoting him, and he said that everyone was at the company was so proud of the effort that everyone on this team has put in, that they wanted to make sure that they were as the internet and as Chaim says, keep the energy going. So $100,000 in total, 50,000 going to direct relief, and then 50,000 going to Black Lives Matter, which I mean that alone is 100K that we've raised through the generosity of our corporate overlords. But on top of that, between the donations that the people, the community, and the folks that have been coming on the stream and their communities, and then our own teammates and colleagues, and then their donations are being matched by CBS as well, Viacom CBS. I think that's coming to close to 50K as well. So in total, we've raised around 150K for both Black Lives Matter and direct relief, which is an absolutely ridiculous amount that we never thought we would do, but we did it. And what an incredible achievement. Chaim's got the 100K. Well, I saw him making that on the fly.
Yeah.
Well played.
It's a lot of
We
money.
found that out in Slack yesterday, and I mean, it kind of goes back to what we were saying before, is that we work for a place that's having a moment and drawing a line in the sand and showing where it stands, and obviously all the people that work there, and I'm really proud to be involved in this whole thing, working with all you guys and chatting with the community. Like Jake said earlier, please message one of us. I mean, Jake, you and I, Tam, do you have your DMs open?
Yep, my DMs are open.
DMs are open.
Mine are too.
Bring up about the Discord too, actually, is that the mods are starting a game jam.
Yeah.
So if that's
Super
something you're
cool.
interested in, definitely hit us up about it, because
It's the theme is GameSpot, so
we didn't even pick that theme.
Yeah,
You're like,
they
you want us to
picked
pick the
that. They were
theme,
like-
and then I go back and see the theme is GameSpot. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
well,
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And thank you everyone who's been on this, I almost said journey with us.
It's ongoing.
Look, I
Of
mean,
course,
it's ongoing.
We're not done yet.
There's still
we're not
Xbox.
done.
yeah,
There's
we've
still
got
Xbox, there's still Ubisoft, there's still Devolver.
and the donation links are all remaining live. So
Store link, all
The
those.
store.
Yeah, all of that is going towards the charities until the end of August, so plenty of time if you want to get some sick apparel. I know, Kurt, you got the skateboard, the skate deck.
Should I go get it?
Yeah.
You should, because there's a
Yeah.
giant
Oh, God.
picture of Kurt diving through Tam's floor in the middle of the
Yeah,
skateboard.
Tam
it's like
crying.
and
I'm just
Tam
crying the entire time. I was like, when
There
I
it
saw that, I
is.
was like,
Look at
great.
that sick skateboard. It's so good.
Can't hear anything.
Look at that. It's beautiful.
Just show them the part where you're making Tam cry.
Ruining Tam's
Yeah, right.
day.
Yeah.
It's right
So
there.
There it is.
Here's me smashing through the floor into Tam's room, which is totally messed up because that would imply that I beat him at a video game, which is not something that can happen.
I'm
So,
also
you never know.
in a flooded bathroom right now.
yeah, also, Jake, can we
Jake,
talk about this for a second? You're like sitting and playing a video game with your pants down.
My
You're
favorite
totally
one
not-
on this. My favorite one on this is Chastity, who's eating
I got
an
a
entire
huge chicken.
a whole chicken.
I do that. I will go
Yeah,
to the
but
store,
also-
buy an entire rotisserie chicken, and not share it with anybody.
But
So it's just fact.
this is it.
That's cool.
It's legit. I was actually going to consider trying
nice.
to skate this, but I don't think I can bring myself to do it.
Well, no, also because the wheel would go right through me. So put it on your left. Or would it?
No, you're good.
I'm
You'll be
alright.
fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's kind of wrap this up. Thank you to everyone who's been watching and like donating in the chat. It's gonna be weird not kind of finishing videos by saying that anymore.
Yeah.
But you know where to find us. Let's go around the room. Chastity.
I'm at Chastity_V on Twitter.
Michael.
You can find me and all of my bullshit at Michael P. Hyam on Twitter. My DMs are open, but I have no decision-making power whatsoever at GameSpot, so don't come at me with any suggestions, but I'll put in a good word for you.
Kurt.
I'm Kurt Indivina at Kurt_Indivina. My DMs are also open. You can message me about whatever your heart desires. Lemon bar recipes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's all, just message me about that. That's
just
it.
lemon bar recipes.
Yeah, just give me your lemon bar recipes.
Jake.
You can find me at Jacob Deck, and I am now accepting Last of Us spoilers. I wasn't for a while, but people can spoil that game for me now if they want.
Tay.
Who knows what he's doing?
Oh, here he
Here
is.
he is.
Okay, hopefully this works.
No.
Well, he's muted on this one now.
Muted.
He's on Twitter.
His Twitter's
at
right there.
Tay.
It's on the screen.
It's muted to you guys. Not
Oh.
But now it's not anymore. It's not buttons to click and unmute. Don't worry about me. My DMs are open, but I can't help you with a job. I can help point you to where you could get a job. But, no, dude, surprisingly, there has been, if you look at chat a lot, every one of the conference streams I've like replied to people with, at least as GameSpot, because I'm just logged in because I have to turn on the streams that way. They always ask, how do we get a job? I'm like, you can go to cbsinteractive.com, look at careers, because I can't do anything other than for you. But I'm just saying that. Anyways.
Start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Ambitious. Anyways, coming back to Lucy, I'm at it.
Tam.
I'm at Tamor H. You can message me about Bloodborne.
I'm at Lucy James Games. You can message me about Red Dead 2 because I'm all about that. Red Dead Online life now, or Overwatch, or also just to get an invite to the Discord, which you should because it's a great place.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a great weekend. We will see you tomorrow for Devolver Digital and Sunday for Ubisoft Forward. And then I think on the 23rd for Xbox. And, we'll be all over GameSpot all the time anyway. Bye.
Sweet.
Oh, snap. Peace. Bye.
Thank you so much.